Boy, yeah, you talk about somebody everybody knows. It is time to go inside the game with the one, the only Steve Clarke. We're going to go inside many, many games this morning. Good morning to you, Steve. How are you?
Hi, Steve.
I am doing fantastic. Good morning, Pat, Dave, and Ron. And I got to start off right off the bat, a big surprise in game one of the NBA playoffs with the number one seeded Detroit Pistons stunned by the eighth seeded Orlando Magic, 112 to 101 in Detroit.
Hmm.
The Magic win the opener in their best of seven series. Pistons never led in this one. Never led. They trailed 18 to 5 to start the game. Orlando simply just outplayed them both offensively and defensively. You know, the Magic may be the eighth seed, but they recently got back a former Wolverine, Franz Wagner, back into their starting lineup after missing most of the regular season with an ankle injury. He's one of their better players. And, you know, perhaps maybe Detroit starting off with a 4 or 5 seed if Wagner was playing all year. The good news for Detroit, though, is Kate Cunningham, who recently came back from a collapsed lung, had 39 points.
Wow.
Because he feels fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
His conditioning wasn't the reason for the loss. A critical game two for Detroit is set for Wednesday night.
Yeah, when
Your
you spend the
sense-
game chasing, the other team, then you're not on great footing, right?
Yeah.
Your sense, Steve, of one
Exactly.
offer, or I mean, you don't feel nervous overall about the series, huh? Or are you?
Well, I described game two as critical.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Well,
teams can get surprised. It's game one. Detroit has shown most of the season that, you know, they're the best team in the East with challenges to come, not necessarily in the first round. It's no reason to hit the panic button, but you do not want to go down 2 games to nothing with the next 2 games being played at Orlando.
Yeah, not unprecedented for an 8 to beat a 1, but doesn't happen very often. So hopefully the Pistons will get their
Yeah.
footing and take care of business. Spring games happen. So what did we learn? College football kicking off, and our local teams. What we learn?
Yeah, well, Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State had their spring scrimmage slash exhibition, whatever it was. Let's start with Ohio State, where, you know, you're coming back with a quarterback in Julian Sayin who completed 77% of his passes last year. That was not only the best in Division One in 2025, Dave, but it was also the best in Big Ten history last year. And he threw for 32 touchdowns. Receiver Carnell Tate will likely be the first receiver taken in the NFL draft, but Chris Henry Jr., the number 2 receiver in the class of 2026, is going to likely join superstar Jeremiah Smith and Brandon Ennis at the receiver spots. What's intriguing for Ohio State this year, Dave, is that they have a new offensive coordinator after longtime assistant and extraordinarily recruiter Brian Hartline left to take the head coaching job at the University of Southern Florida. The new coordinator is Arthur Smith. He spent 17 seasons in the NFL, most recently as the offensive coordinator with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and was a former head coach with the Atlanta Falcons. Now, Smith has a reputation for building strong rushing attacks in the NFL, and sophomore Bo Jackson, not related to the Bo Jackson, Buckeyes leading rusher, having started behind James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson. And then on defense, Ohio State has to replace 7 starters, including both linebacking positions, where Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles could likely to go top 10 in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Boy, and looking at baseball, too, it looks like the Tigers are back to their winning ways, a sweep and then actually 2 sweeps, and they're back in second place. And, of course, on this day, I don't know if you caught this, Steve, but in 1912, it was Detroit really hosting their first professional baseball game in what would become Tiger Stadium. It was Navin Field then. So happy
That's
birthday
correct.
to baseball in Detroit.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, Detroit had a slow start. I don't think they swept Boston. I think they lost 1-0 in 10 innings on Friday night. But they're back above 500. They're expected to win the Central.
Yeah.
If I could just turn it back to football just for a
Sure.
moment, for Michigan and Ann Arbor, their offense was at a premium at the Michigan spring scrimmage, where the only touchdown came in the final seconds of a 7-6 ball game. Of course, what's new at Michigan is that former Utah coach Kyle Whittingham is coming off an 11-2 season with the Utes. The legendary coach out there, he'd been there for a long time, was kind of forced out so that the coach in waiting wouldn't actually leave and be actually the head coach. So he's going to bring back some old school discipline to a team that sorely needs it after last season. Last year's team at Michigan finished 9-4, but didn't beat, a ranked team. Quarterback Bryce Underwood will be in his second year, and he'll be guided by a quarterbacks coach and coordinator in Jason Beck, who guided the Utes on an NCAA fourth leading team in scoring at about 41 points per game. And then at the running back positions, Jordan Marshall returns, and they'll have the number 2 running back in the class of 2026 and Savion Hyder. The receivers for Michigan's got to improve, and the defensive strength is going to be the secondary. It's the guys up front that's kind of a question mark after several departures to eligibility. And then finally at Michigan State, you may remember the name Pat Fitzgerald, the former Northwestern coach and player spanning over 4 decades in Evanston. Well, he was fired a few seasons ago over a hazing scandal. Northwestern acted quickly, but not necessarily thoroughly. Fitz sued, and once a settlement was agreed to, it appeared Fitz was safe to be able to coach again and wasn't a pariah. So Michigan State picked him up. And, they also picked up a few sought-after coaches to round out his staff. So Michigan State looking good from a coaching perspective, but State's biggest challenge is the talent and the depth in the trenches. This is going to take some time, but for the here and now, Fitz will try to do what he did at Northwestern. Coach his guys to be tough, physical, and mistake-free. That's his identity. And if he's successful early, well, he's going to be able to draw better talent, and then we're going to be talking about Michigan State a little bit more often on the inside the game.
Now, Steve, how would you like to be in the crowd at Virginia Tech for their spring football game when the skydiver rolls in, coming from the sky, and crashes right into the scoreboard? How horrifying.
I have not heard about that.
They had to get a cherry picker in to rescue him.
Is he okay? Or
well, no, I'm hospitalized.
But he crashed the scoreboard. What a way to start the James Franklin era.
Absolutely.
It's not James Franklin's fault, but things seem to have gone wrong with James Franklin lately. I've seen a lot of skydivers deposit themselves into the middle of the field at Michigan Stadium before. It's quite amazing that they have the guidance and to be able to steer to go right into that screaming throng of crowds. So I guess you can't take that for granted, especially on windy conditions in the springtime.
He's in stable condition, but pretty anxious moments there.
Draft coming up Thursday, so we'll get your thoughts when it's all said and done next Monday. Thank you, Steve.
Bye, Steve.
Thank you.